We're smooth 98.1 FM. Good morning and welcome to the Grapevine. It is time to get into everything entertainment related and more. Get ready, laughter, get serious at some point. We expect you to be part of the conversation if you send us a WhatsApp message onto 0809 444 0981. We'll be where we read the messages, so keep them coming. And you can as well catch a live stream on youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. That said, it's time to make welcome the man this morning. Oris, good morning to you.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Omas. And yes, the pundit is around.
And next we say good morning to
Yeah, good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Omas. Good morning, Oris. Good morning, everybody listening, wherever you're listening from, and we're live.
How you don't run low on battery? If you run on battery, honestly, I know there are some days your battery will be low, but where you get this
No, I
ginger
never
from,
run
we'll
low.
find out.
Never run low.
All right, so let's dig into the entertainment stories. Well, we're about to just pick up a man. This guy, his craft has been on, and for over 14 years now, he's been celebrating the emergence of that album, where he stormed us with Superstar. I'm talking about Wizkid, and it's the Star Boy. Eventually, that's how he's known around. He celebrates just celebrating the 13th anniversary of the debut album. James, how come most artists, their first album seem to be like, when it comes out, it's like they poured in sweat and blood into it, that it has no option than to make this impact, and it lingers?
Yeah, I mean, apart from talent, the obvious answer is actually hunger, you know, and hunger in the sense that they come all out because this is like a one in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, that's your first album can make or mar you. And we're talking about an era where EP was not particularly popular. In fact, back then, EP was actually about rap art for rap artists, where they'll do something they call mixtape at the time. So, but when you are a pop artist or any other genre, what you had to put out was an album. I mean, apart from single, then what the next thing we want to hear is an album. So, and that's exactly how they put like their hearts, put everything, put where they are coming from, they just know that if they don't strike that, iron proper, it may just mar that career that they're trying to, delve into. So yes, they put in a lot of work, put in a lot of energy, put in a lot of that whole sleepless night or the time they spend in the studio running up and down here and there, looking for money and source and resources to, you know, create music is what they pour into that whole thing. And then don't forget that for those ones that even have like a record label and everything, you really, really want to impress your people. You want to show them that you are worth the investment. So hunger really drives them into that level of creative output, if I'll put it like that.
So, Oris, as you would also chime in now, I'd like you to respond. James talked about hunger, but sometimes they say an hungry man is an angry man. Is there also an element of anger in the process too, that you need to get it right as well? And in addition to your response, also, has Whiskey grown beyond the image of this superstar album?
I mean, taking it from behind, I think he has gone beyond the Superstar album. I think his sound has massively changed actually. I think from record, if you compare um what's the name of that weird collection he had, Sounds from the Other Side, which is what he released immediately after he had the foreign record label. I think before he signed, just after he signed to Sony. Compare the sound on that album to the sound on Made in Lagos, to the sound of Superstar. There's a huge, very huge difference. But I think that so he's grown in that regard. For me, it's always been a question like, is it a growth that those of us who knew him at the beginning are particularly proud of? On certain days, the answer for me is no, frankly, because I still believe that Wizkid's best album is Superstar. I do not think he has made an album that is quite as good or as important. Maybe no, maybe not important. There are people who would argue that Made in Lagos, because it had essence, is the more important record. But I think in terms of like quality across the board, he doesn't have an album that compares to Superstar. But to address what James was saying earlier about why first albums are great, I think there is hunger. You mentioned anger. I'm not really sure about the anger part, but I think it's two things. There's hunger to impress, but also there's time. An artist's first album, technically speaking, is a sum up of his entire experiences from, I don't know, childhood up until that particular moment. What that means is if you did your first album at the age of 22, technically speaking, you've had 22 years to make that album. Your second album would then, if you are signed to a record label, they want you to build up on the fact of, okay, you had the success. We need to release something else for the market almost immediately. So you then have 2 years, 22 years, 2 years. There's a huge difference between those two things. So I think that's kind of why you have first albums, so at least for many artists, incredibly great. And then the second, the third is like, you are not quite living up to that. But the point is, you do not have the luxury of time anymore once you have your first album out. So I think that's the major problem.
All right, so let's take a look at this point from that album, the Superstar album. Let's see favorites. Don't Dull for me is I always go to Don't Dull. That's it. So James Silas, which will be your sound you want to go back to in that album?
Oluwaloni. That's I can't remember the title of that song. But it's
No,
Oluwaloni.
God bless you. No, that is title actually. You have the title right.
Yeah.
That's the title of that record actually, James. And you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, for me too. It's of course, you listen to that album. I think people forget that. In fact, Wizkid himself, maybe he doesn't forget, but I think he tries to downplay the influence of what's his name, Banky W on that album. Banky is actually, when you think about it, besides Don Jazzy, considering what he did with and for Wizkid, I think he's one of the architects of our present sound.
That was on the EME label. That's where
yes, exactly. Yes. Back when it was still a record label. I think it's a talent agency or something now these days. Anyway, that particular album had like people seem to forget. People assume that we just came into this dance thing. Actually, there are two albums I think that kind of made that happen. One was Superstar. The other one was something called Empire State of Mind, which was like a collection of
all the artists on EME, yes.
Songs from the EME record. I think that was 2012. That album had like maybe like I don't know if it had 20 songs, like 15 of them or 16 of them were about just dance bangers, real bangers. So he kind of built up on that one with the Wizkid album. So anyway, those two albums I think are very important in the history of dance, of Afrobeats and dance. Of course, alongside One Day Calls, what's it called? Motion to Mohit. But I think we should always remember that, when we are celebrating Superstar, there's Wizkid there, but part of that success is Banky W.
He releases a song, is just taking you into his past. That's the summary of this. You are listening to it, you are going into his past. He's moved on from that experience. And that's the words of Brimo. I heard him was talking about that some days ago in an interview I watched. But let's get on to this next very sad event right now. The firmament of theater of the Thespians has been depleted by one again, as the news broke about in a protracted illness. So talk to us about.
It used to mean like every 2 or 3 weeks there is something, I don't know, morbid happening in that industry. Maybe they should do deliverance. But anyway, besides that, of course, all I can say is may the man rest in peace.
I go over to James. James, how did this news hit you? And looking at his contribution to the industry, where he said he has been featured in over 100 movies and Suku Suku Bam Bam, 2004, Ago Kaonru, and 2003. Walk us through some of this.
Sadly, I wasn't really, I didn't really follow his career. I didn't really know him as much as, I knew a couple of other actors. So I didn't really know him. I couldn't really connect to his craft. Even though after I read the things that he had done and, how impactful he was in that sector, but I didn't really know him. I couldn't really connect, to him. But may he so rest in peace. I thought that 68 was actually, to me it was. I think it had to be the illness. I thought 68 was pretty young for him to have passed, but I'm sure that it had to do with the illness. I say.
Just looking at how from January till now, the number of
Yeah, Nollywood has
bright
taken
lights
people.
we've
Wow,
gotten out of this of circulation,
crazy.
it's really out of. We just hope that we'll begin to pay attention to the welfare of these creatives. Let's go on now because we've got a marriage to attend shortly, and I don't know if James and Oris, you've got an idea of the color of their sherby for the wedding. I, that will not be James's wedding, and so far I've not been informed it's you. I'm not. You've not even.
Yes.
It's not yours.
It feels like every week somebody is making a comment about my state of wifelessness. Please, please, please. You
No,
should leave my shirt.
not even you, because when you point one finger at one person, the rest comes back. So it's not. It might not even be pointing at you. But anyway, I'm just trying to. So even the pointer is also pointing at himself. But let's move on. Just Davido has confirmed that the reports of upcoming marriage with Chioma.
The 10th time.
All right. So
I'm not entirely sure. When I heard the news, I was like, wait, I don't know. I feel like I've heard this thing like twice before. So I don't know which version of the I don't know. Let's not say married, right? Because I assume this is not just because I'm not in people's houses. I assume that the marriage is ongoing. However, there is a wedding or a celebration that's supposed to happen to commemorate. Church, court, I have no idea what exactly is happening, frankly. I'm just like, okay, here's another wedding between these two people. Good for them, I guess. That's all I can say.
James, for a woman who's
Yeah,
stood by an artist like Davido, is there any amount of time to take just make her reaffirm the love, even if it done this before? But I understand it was traditional, but let's and
yeah. I mean,
customary too. Let's not say it.
yeah. I think they did the traditional and the what's it called the customary or the legal one. So, and I believe that
So what is this? What is this one? What is this one, James?
the white wedding. This is the white wedding now.
This is the white. So that's in a church.
Yes, yes, the church, so to speak. That's what they are doing this time around. And then I think the whole ceremony will have to hold. I mean, the venue is supposed to be a hotel and everything. Personally,
Also, not in a
it,
church then, in a hotel.
it, no,
Okay, this is that
hotel
part
hall,
where
should we say?
she comes
Hotel
out,
hall.
Choma comes out with a gown, all flowing white gown.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would have
I like
thought
how
that
you're
they
asking
would
James like he's
have
wedding
like
planner.
a quiet. Ah, come on, man.
Yeah.
No, but I wish they could have had like a quiet kind of not quiet per se, but like a destination kind of wedding where they don't have to because a cool hotel, man, you know. But I believe that they probably just want that whole Nigerian wedding feel, you know. But if not, I would have said, come on, man, they should go to a destination, do it in Atlanta if they have to, and have a decent, proper, organized wedding. But a cool hotel, anything a cool hotel will be a rave, you know. And well, I guess every man to their own.
The crowd comments on radio.
Well, knowing that what
I think they had network issues. Are we back? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
It is still the Grapevine on Smooth 98.1 FM. We're back. James Silas is still here.
Yeah,
James.
yeah.
And I've got Oris
Yep.
also here with us.
Only to the right.
It's still the Grapevine. Of course, we've got you there. Let's get your thoughts coming on to the show this morning on 0809-444-0981. YouTube, you can get a live stream and see what's going on here on youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. Now, let's see, before we get on to the next item here, Atayo has a message waiting for us already, and he says, well, congrats to Wizkid. And he says his passion was heavy on that album. Shout out to Sam Clef for his contribution.
Clef,
We
true.
left out Sam Clef on that
True.
towards the success of the album. Only, because Sam Clef has been fighting lately everywhere. So
Everybody,
maybe
everywhere, yeah, true.
he's been fighting the Adekunles lately. I think that's been settled anyway. But let's move on. Tayo goes on to say, only God knows what has happened to him. Anyway, Oris' narration reminds me of how Lauryn Hill was rushed to repeat her success with the miseducation
Of Lauryn Hill,
Lauryn Hill back in the days.
Yeah.
Oris Terms has finally dropped album. Yeah, I hope all is well with trajectory. Again, that's yours. I am more confident of Oris getting married this unnecessary Davido back and forth. It's not tennis. All that assurance and Aye songs.
Going to have voicemail.
You know what I mean? So at that point, we
Tayo.
knew that Aye was even in
Tayo just carried his gun and I just sprayed across. Now, wow, even me, I don't catch straight.
rapid fire.
Wow.
So let's go on to this. Every time I see her now, I always, my mind goes back to the African Queen video by Two-Face Idibia. That's the recurring thing I know about her very well. Yvonne Jegede is apologizing at some point now to, well, a fellow gender after facing backlash for polygamy comments made at this point. James, we will come to you on this one. Take us there.
Okay. So I watched that interview, Honest Bunch, Monday, that came out on Monday here. And I mean, I didn't think it was supposed to be a problem. Do you understand? I think she just made a reference.
God bless you, James.
Basically. And then suddenly, you see the thing about this social media, and I don't know, one person will just come up with one idea or just translate it in a different way, and the other people just jump on it and boom, 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 it goes viral. I don't know why this always happens, but it's really sad, and I can only imagine how, because even if May or even you, the Edochie, did not think about anything, to that interview, the fact that it now went viral and people started talking and they start throwing insults and everything will just sort of change everything, even to the person that didn't mean any harm. But I like the fact that she, came all out to apologize. I really, really like, but some people will just look at it like, I did not say anything bad, I did not intend, and they just ignore it. And it will seem like, confirming the wrong intent that people are painting. So, but yeah, I believe that everything should be cool by now because she has apologized and we need to move past that.
Oris, as you jump into this, knowing that this person apologizing to also got Basbos too, because she at that point too on that show also, called out her ex-husband in the process how a marriage ended up because of the issues, differences between them.
I think that even gives her more of the right to say what she said. And what did she exactly say? She simply said that some people who make these comments about the wrongful nature of use Yul Edochie's, I guess,
to Judy,
supposed polygamy, are themselves products of polygamy, or like maybe the children of like second wives or third wives or fourth wives. That's what she was saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is entirely valid. I'm not sure that everybody who has made any comments about you has their mother, married right in this house of the father, and as the only wife. So it was, in my view, honest. And Shady, the name of the show is Honest Bond, right? That was a very honest take. The problem is we have thousands, if not millions of hypocrites walking across social media looking for something to like latch on, because I was like, there's nothing bad in what she said. She seemed to say the truth. If this thing happens in society, it has happened to this particular person. So there's nothing really bad in that. But again, as James pointed out, probably good that she apologized. Although to me, I wish I would find somebody who would stand up and say, you know what? I heard you guys' comments. You're all idiots.
Okay, now let's move on.
I wish that happened.
So, bottom line, let's understand this. It seems the impact of social media and how it promotes this culture council. Now, there is someone who's got a right or opinion now coming out now to apologize. Are we not getting to that point where it seemed like even when you're on your right, you might be forced to apologize because social media backlash is pushing it in that direction. And so you don't even mean the apology, but so you just want your peace. James.
Yeah, I mean, how can we know whether the person means the apology or not?
Or not,
Whatever
right?
same way you
What are
come
the
for
signs?
me for something
Yeah.
I didn't mean or I didn't intend, that's the same way I also throw an apology. Right now, Yorubas will say "Ngbamelo," like how long would it take? I'll draft something and throw it out there, and like what Oris said, still say it out loud to myself on my phone, but give you an apology. Because really, it always starts with one person. One person will just think that they have an opinion and just throw one word there, and then another person will retweet, and another person will repost, and from there it goes, hey, like I don't even understand what the issue really is, because what
Is it
exactly did he say?
is it a problem with the Nigerian social media space? Is the social media elsewhere same way the way we find it in Nigeria?
Of course it
I
is.
I think so, but
Social,
Africa or Niger, our own translation and even language can always be different, because when you see things go viral, when they call out situations abroad, if you go to it, you see somehow, you might see the sense of the call out or the controversy that would have been, that would have happened at that point in time. Sometimes you see the sense in it, but you see back here, it can be something as little as the fact that you let maybe your 4-year-old to walk behind you and not hold the person's hand, or something as little as, I don't know. I think here we're quite sensitive. We have very sensitive
James,
people.
James,
Yeah.
I think the thing is it isn't, I think everywhere, by the way, social media by nature it's almost configured to promote outrage. If we didn't have this level of outreach, we wouldn't have as many daily active users, as they call it in the tech space. You wouldn't have as many people commenting. And of course, these platforms needs people to comment so that, the engagement is high, which probably means like more dollars for them. So I think by nature, social media has this thing booked into how it is built. But there's also the other issue is peculiar to Nigeria, is that where elsewhere people understand that you have major platforms, maybe the big boys, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Time magazines, all stuff like that. When you have that, platforms like that would not promote certain types of stories, you know. But here we are in the space where the people who dictate a lot of the discourse are not like major platforms. They are blogs. So when you have blogs dictating certain things, they of course are always going for the bottom pot, the most ridiculous story. So that's how these things get amplified. So that's the problem with Nigeria. It's not necessarily everybody is the same everywhere. We all like outrage. The issue is that the major platforms here promotes all of this nonsense.
Okay, let's return now as we understand it isn't Christmas yet, but it's looking like one of the faves is playing Santa coming very early in June, fresh from France and from successful concerts around the world. And being a Jan that he is come with the goodie bags. And first he stops by in his home state, River State, and he's been spending and spraying money all over, and even to the admiration of fellow celebrities like Cubana Chief Priest and the others saying, wow. So I'm just talking about Burna Boy, James Silas. This sudden
Yes.
generosity.
Sorry.
No, it's not sudden. No. I don't
Okay.
think it's sudden. I don't think it's sudden. So if you watch Burna Boy's the video for common person, I think there was one for common person. There's also another one that he did. What's the title? Something alcohol, no, it's not alcohol, like something that he did, like a documentary. I think it was like 30 minutes or how many minutes documentary that he did about Port
Oh
Harcourt.
yes, about Port Harcourt, yes. I can't remember
Remember,
the title, but yes, it's on what's it called? It's on YouTube. Yes, you're right.
it's on YouTube as well. And then also there's also another one that he did. It was a song where he talked about the whole suits thing in Port Harcourt at the refinery area, those communities close to the refinery and stuff. Talked about suits. the water the what's it called, water pollution,
Yeah, the
air
gas
pollution.
flaring and yeah.
Yes, yes. He addressed all those kind of things, even as strong as the song is supposed to be, what always happens is that people still tilt towards the more popular records or more, so even that's where we also bring it back to, when we say, oh, Burna Boy enjoys the perks of Afrobeat, or of the struggle, or Fela. I don't know, how do I put it. Obviously, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. How he
I
enjoys
do,
the
I do.
perks of that that perception, but doesn't really speak up. But in fairness, I think to an extent he tries to, or he does. Just that those
Yeah.
kind of songs don't just make it as big as the other ones that he does or he makes.
So the
Now bringing it back,
generosity.
bringing it back to this gesture, I am sure that it's not just the first time. It's just that sometimes news doesn't really go mainstream, even when he does, or when he had done something like this. I see that Burna Boy really, really likes his Port Harcourt city. He really, really likes his people. And he has always, because don't forget that that's where he actually started this music thing. That is Port Harcourt. He was a Port Harcourt boy proper, even before all.
Once again, James has been tossed off.
Yeah, so let's just let James just let it just rest it there. I also see that there's also plans to also distribute trucks of food in Port Harcourt. I've seen the videos already circulating. But
Just
walk us through
for
something,
charity.
Oris, this time around,
Yeah.
where there's this House
Yeah.
of Dragon returns with the ruthlessness of the games of Thrones.
Well, House of Dragon, of course, it's the prequel. Well, prequel, but it comes after the Game of Thrones, I guess, series, which was a big hit, the world over. Now, of course, they are back. The first season, I think, ended like 2 years ago, which is funny, 22 months ago. And now there's a new season coming. What is today's date? 13th, right?
13th.
Yes, so I think in 3 days or 4 days, they will have the second season of House of Dragon returns. So I was lucky enough that somebody, well, the companies nicely sent me a few episodes of the first few episodes. And I just think it's incredibly, it's just great. There are people who focus on the fact of dragons. Like people like the dragons fights or whatever during the Game of Thrones. Me, I've always been interested in like the human angle, the stories between the families, the search for power.
Yeah.
Now you have that in this particular one again. And in the first few episodes, once again, you have like really, really stellar writing. Anytime when I was watching the first few episodes, I kept thinking to myself that, wait, what do we need to do as Nigerians, as Nollywood, to get to a quality this high? I don't know the answer, but I think it will probably start with people imagining stuff and writing as well as possible.
So you think it will be a time well invested and money well invested when it comes to the cinema and people can go out there to see?
No, it's on TV.
No,
I think it's on a streaming platform. I think here there's only there's only
HBO?
one platform. No, HBO. HBO is not in Nigeria. It's
No,
these people.
no, not Nigeria.
It's not them. The guys, the cable guys, their streaming platform.
Okay, let's rest that.
Anyway, so yeah, so they are the ones who are showing it.
Okay,
on 16.
so James, final touch on this one. Go to Shay for us. Shay is dropping a bombshell because we already know it's no news any longer that Starboy Wizkid is already set to drop the album, and Shay has something to say about the album.
No, she's saying that the song One Dance was James. Sorry, yeah, she's saying that One Dance was a song for Wizkid, which is weird, by the way. But James, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I want to believe that she was speaking, or she spoke from a place of knowledge, or yeah, that she.
we hope.
Because I hope so, because I mean, let's not go and assume. But if she's sure and that's what she has said, and okay, fine, but I won't be surprised if it's the truth. Do you understand? But Wizkid has never mentioned it in interview.
Yeah, why would she know this information? Is she like I doubt? Anyway, I don't know.
Exactly. We've not heard it from any other source.
Yeah, for any people who are closer to him, then she from somewhere saying this. I really find it hard to believe, frankly.
Yes, women are the best investigate. They can investigate things better. So they're the best FBI we can find around. So I won't doubt if she's got the information we need.
No, but because that song, I remember the first time I heard it all of those years ago. I remember how I was looking for Wizkid on the song and I couldn't really find him. So if it was a song originally, how come it was reduced to something that's very tiny? It's like a 30-second snippet. That's his entire part, and it was like even reduced volume. I'm just like, well, I'm not quite sure. So anyway, I really don't know, but I find it very, very hard to believe.
All right, so this is where we draw the curtains this morning on the Grapevine, but let's see a message waiting on the fringes. I've got Wankwo Anthony, who's got a message in saying The Boys season 4 is also coming up out today. Anthony from
Tony is definitely a big fan of series.
All right, thank you guys so much. James Silas, thanks for your time as always.
Every time, anytime, yes. James Silas, Instagram, everywhere. X, I'm here.
Says X. Yes, X, Twitter.
And Oris?
Yes. Oris. It's Catch Oris always on Twitter and Catch Orisgram on Instagram.
Catch Oris, call James Silas. He'll tell you where we'll be. That's the size of the Grapevine. St. Fadjo, we see your message, but thanks so much.
3 minutes overtime. And now he's typing. Somebody should have said like 5 minutes ago.
Just typing.
Let me see.
Let me answer.